People trying to say I'm only enemy. Got a code with my dogs, can get in between. I can give them life, no more energy. Amen. Amen.
What's up, everybody? The first few games of the playoffs are in the books. The first game in every series has now been played, and me and JJ are going to be here to talk about it and basically go over everything that's important that's needed to know. So before we do all that, JJ, how are we feeling now that playoff basketball is back?
It feels good that it's back, but hopefully these game twos are a little bit more competitive with some of these series.
Yeah.
I have no hope for that OKC series being competitive, but
It's done.
all those turnovers it's not good. It's not good at all.
We'll get there. We'll start off with the day one games and a pretty highly anticipated series between the Bucks and the Pacers. Didn't really live up to the hype game one. Giannis did his Giannis thing, 36 points, 12 rebounds. Unfortunately, nobody else did their thing. They lost 117 to 98. What was your main takeaways there, JJ?
I think when I was watching the game and I was talking with you when it was going on with the Bucks, everything that could go wrong went wrong. You shot 9 of 37. Giannis did everything he could. You got Kuzma putting up Tony Snell numbers. Now Kuzma is the Tony Snell meme. It's not good.
At least Tony Snell, he's known for his defense, kind of like he had an excuse.
Yeah.
Kyle Kuzma had no excuse. That was genuinely
no excuse.
One of the worst playoff performances by a player ever.
When I saw him miss those 2 free throws, I said, "Oh, yeah, it's a GG."
Yep.
It was
At
bad.
that point, you got to be like, hey, just do something. Like if I'm in the game, I'm trying to get every rebound possible just to avoid that stat line. But no, didn't happen this one. But then on the Pacers side, I mean, Halliburton did his Halliburton thing, 12 assists. Only shot 3 of 13, 0 of 7 from 3, and somehow they still handled business. Andrew Nembhard did that thing in the playoffs where he looks like he's supposed to be an all-star, but only in the playoffs.
He's a playoff riser.
Yeah.
Kind of crazy for a role player.
And then Dame and Hallie were talking shit towards the end. Dame got a tech, even though he's not even an active player right now. But apparently, do we know what game he's supposed to be back? I don't think it's just game 2, is it?
They haven't said yet.
But, I mean, it's a miracle that he's even, about to play. But, I mean,
yeah.
In game 2,
it sounds like whenever he does come back, he's going to come back with some fire.
Oh, yeah. But let's assume he doesn't come back game 2. Obviously, Doc Rivers is the coach, so we can't expect too many changes. But what are we expecting to change game to game here, other than hopefully the Bucks just knocking down more shots?
I mean, probably limit some turnovers here and there. Because, I mean, they did have, 10 turnovers? Pacers had 8.
Not too bad.
It's not too bad, but I think it did turn into some fast break points, which you don't want to see. Because fast break points, it was 5 to 22. That's not good.
Yeah.
I remember it was a point of emphasis last year to, attack the Bucks in transition. So it's not good. But outside of that, I really think he's got to knock down those open shots. Gary Trent Jr. has to step up. AJ Green did what he could, but can be a liability a little bit on defense. So he got into some foul trouble at the end in the second half.
In Gary's defense, Gary played well.
He did.
Was obviously other guys made shots, but while I was watching, it felt like he was the only other guy who scored.
Yeah. I just think because he was getting to within the 3-point line, but I think him spacing from the 3 is they really need that. Obviously he shot 2 of 7 and 6 of 11 from the field in general. But I think without Dame, he's just gonna have to do a little bit more. I know it's probably asking
on the
for
ball a lot.
Yeah.
Which that's not what we think of when we think of Gary Trent. I think Kevin Porter's gonna have to get more minutes here to keep Gary Trent in his normal role.
Yeah, and it made life was difficult for Kevin Porter Jr. to get to his spots because they put Andrew Nembhard on him.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much we're gonna get out of Kevin Porter Jr. scoring if Andrew Nembhard continues to be his primary defender. but I think he's just gonna have to be aggressive, getting to the rim and drawing fouls like he did. But just
I
getting those like mid range is gonna be tough.
Yeah, I do have a question for you. Between Kuzma and Brook Lopez, both of them didn't play much. 21 minutes for Kuzma, 20 minutes for Brook Lopez. Minus 24 for Kuzma, minus 18 for Brook Lopez when they're on the court. If only one of them can lose minutes and get played out of the rotation, which one do you think it is?
I mean, it's probably gonna have to be Kuzma here. Like, he's not offering anything here. And that's beyond what his stat line says. Obviously, his stat line was just pure garbage.
Yeah.
But when they do go small ball, like, even then, I don't see what he's going to bring to the table here in this matchup if he's not going to be good defensively either.
I almost feel like it's Brook Lopez just because, like Kyle Kuzma, if Kyle Kuzma is playing bad defense, his guy's scoring. For Brook Lopez, if he's playing bad defense, everybody else has to make up for it, and suddenly the entire system goes down.
Yeah.
So, I mean, both of them could. We talked about the lineup beforehand, that death lineup. Neither of them are in it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. But I did like the fact that we were right about Brook Lopez, to see it come together the way it did, because I think it'll happen again. Like 20 and a half minutes, and I don't think he should have played a second more.
Not at all.
But, I mean, I think that's the only other thing worth talking about is Pascal Siakam continues playing like a man possessed every time he goes against the Bucks. Shoots 3 of 5 from deep in this one.
Yeah.
He gets.
There's a
I'm
stretch
convinced he's
where
more excited to
none of
play
these
him than
guys
Hallie
can
at this
miss.
time.
Oh, yeah. No, Siakam, he was the man in that game. I think he's probably going to have to continue to do that. I don't know if Halliburton's going to struggle this much again, but they are going to try and make life difficult for him.
Yeah, it looks like I'm looking back at the threes he did take. So last year we obviously targeted Miles Turner a lot in this series because of the Brook Lopez matchup. It's looking like they put Brook Lopez on Siakam. I don't know why they thought that was going to be a good idea, but that was where his first 3 came from. And then when Bobby Portis came in, it was Bobby, a couple transition attempts. So, yeah, if Brook Lopez is off the court, I think a lot of this gets fixed.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bobby Portis has to come over and help, and he's open again. So that'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But I do expect more Kevin Porter Jr. minutes, less of Brook Lopez and Kyle Kuzma on the Bucks side. And I think the Pacers, we're going to have to see how they adjust to that. I don't know that they do from a personnel standpoint, but from a game plan standpoint, it'll be interesting to see what the Bucks can do as they try and match the pace.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into the next one, who actually plays tonight as well. The Clippers and the Nuggets. The first game that went to OT, Nuggets pulled out 112 to 110. Russell Westbrook with a big finish, both mostly good, but some bad moments. He was partly the reason it went to
double-edged sword
OT to
he
begin
is.
with. Yeah, but in the end, he made more good plays than bad ones, and that's what you want with Russell Westbrook. For me, the question becomes, I mean, he shot 2 of 6 from 3, but the 2 that he made were pretty big time, like high leverage situations. If you're relying on him to knock down those shots, especially in the clutch, I think it's going to be a long series for you.
Yeah, I think the Clippers were right there the entire time, and then down the stretch, they just had some slip-ups, some bad turnovers, and then I think they got greedy trying to double Jokic instead of just letting him be a scorer. Because like we said, when you let him get these guys open shots, as you've seen, they were just knocking them down when they had the chance. But outside of that, Jamal Murray definitely stepped up in that matchup more than I thought he would. Chris Dunn still played good defense on him regardless.
Yeah. Most of his buckets came against Derrick Jones Jr. or on like switches.
Yeah.
It wasn't really on Chris Dunn.
Yeah. So I think they're going to have to – Chris Dunn played well enough on offense where I think they're going to have to put him out there a little bit more than they did. He played 31 minutes overall. I think he's going to have to be like within like around 35-minute mark.
Derrick
As
Jones
long as
Jr.
he's
doesn't
knocking
really
down
have a
shots,
reason to be in this game.
not
The only
even
way I
just in the
see that,
series,
yeah, the
unless he's
only way
giving
I
him a
see him
rest.
needing minutes is if Michael Porter Jr. and Aaron Gordon are both like playing well, because then you'd probably need to switch Kawhi off of Michael Porter Jr. and onto Aaron Gordon. But
Yeah,
then Michael Porter Jr. can shoot over Harden. Derrick Jones, and that's the perfect archetype for him. Somebody who's long and not that strong. Derrick Jones will be able to defend him pretty well. But as long as Michael Porter Jr. looks as checked out as he was in game one, I don't think he's needed on the court. I think you're fine playing Chris Dunn 36 minutes, or just match Chris Dunn's minutes with Jamal Murray. As soon as Jamal Murray goes to sit, Chris Dunn goes to sit, and vice versa.
yeah,
So what I did think was interesting watching that game is how willing the Clippers were to switch. We talked beforehand that we expected them to just leave Zubac on an island on Jokic and let him play big man defense.
hmm
It seems like the new coach bailout this season, both for the Nuggets and the Grizzlies, is, oh, I took over this team late. We're just going to spam pick and rolls with our guard and center. And that's what they did with Jamal Murray and Jokic. I couldn't find the numbers exactly in terms of how many possessions they ran, but it felt like that was pretty much the entire offense.
yeah,
And the Clippers were just switching a lot. So Zubac ended up on Murray. Chris Dunn ended up on Jokic. And obviously there's a big mismatch. So as soon as the entry pass came to Jokic, Kawhi or somebody else would come show and double on Jokic when that's not what the Clippers want to do. And Zubac even said as much in the post, or it was either in the post game or yesterday during practice. He said we gave up the switches way too easily. So I do anticipate what we expected to happen in game one. I think that's what will happen in game two.
and I'm on the same page here because I don't think the Nuggets offense did anything special, and I think Lou's gonna make the correct adjustments here to go back to what they should have did.
Yeah.
I think Denver's offense is gonna be a lot easier to stop game two, like once they put their game plan out. Because like I said, they didn't do anything special, just spam pick and roll. They didn't have any like empty corner sets or anything like that. Nothing crazy to where Murray can just go crazy and ISO and all that. Matchup, I think Nuggets are gonna have to continue to attack is that Gordon versus Harden matchup. Obviously, he's shot 8 of 14. He got aggressive, obviously, in the paint because he can match up against a smaller defender. You're going to have to take advantage of that. So 8 of 10 from the free throw line. I think they had to continue to go back to that to give Jokic and Murray some help.
And Harden got in early foul trouble too. That was the other interesting thing.
And he played through it.
Yeah. But once Harden got in foul trouble, at least when he came off for the foul trouble, it looks like Batum and Kawhi picked up those minutes, and Aaron Gordon struggled. He only scored 2 of his team's 41 points when Harden wasn't on, or when Batum and Kawhi were on him. So he's really banking off of those, sending extra help to Jokic or having a smaller guy on him. And that's kind of like we talked about, where if Derrick Jones is going to get run, it's going to be because either Aaron Gordon or Michael Porter Jr. is doing too much and they need to make a switch.
Yeah. And I know Jokic told Michael Porter Jr. to step up in this game, called him out. But it's going to be tough because Kawhi is his primary defender. I don't know how much he's going to be able to do on offense if that is his primary defender.
They're just, once they recognized that Kawhi was on him, they basically just used him as a decoy because Kawhi, for the most part, is not helping off. Like if Michael Porter Jr. is in the corner, Kawhi's not seeing ball, seeing man. Kawhi is in the corner with him, like as if he has the ball in the corner.
Yeah.
So he's just denying the ball, and it's 4v4 from that point on, which I guess if they're just running the pick and roll and Kawhi's defending him like that, you don't want Kawhi in the action, so you might as well keep him out there. I think the big things, if we want to criticize Michael Porter Jr., is going to be defensively.
Yeah, and that's why I feel like he's going to be useless here. If they're playing 4-on-5 basketball on defense, it's, you're giving the Clippers too many weapons to use here. So I don't know how much Michael Porter Jr. can play in the series if they're going to have Kawhi Leonard on him, not be able to hit shots on him. It's going to be very tough.
They tried to open up with him on Zubac and Jokic on Chris Dunn. Zubac scored 8 of his team's 13 points, and they immediately, or not, that didn't all happen in the first 13 points, but that with Michael Porter Jr. as the primary defender, they switched off of that very quick. I think the first basket of the game, the Clippers realized what was happening. They took advantage of it, and the Nuggets switched pretty quickly. I do think it was big for the Nuggets to win this game because it felt like a feel-out game for them. They tried a lot of different things, like MPJ on Zubac. They tried drop coverage. They tried to blitz. They tried a zone. So they did a lot in this game where I don't think they knew what they wanted to do yet. So the fact they won that feel-out game, I think is going to be a big thing for them. I think it's going to be we're going to have to see what the adjustments are from the Clippers because outside of just, hey, Kawhi, be more aggressive, I don't know for sure what the adjustments are. Like, I think they played a decent game with a decent game plan, more or less. There was just some small things they have to fix, and it's just going to be interesting to see if that's enough.
Do you think they go back to that zone defense like they did in the fourth quarter?
No.
I'm hoping they don't.
I'll say the first half when they ran it, it was a disaster. So then they made some adjustments in the second half, but I think the Clippers are probably going to be more ready for it in the second half. Because I think in the first half, when they broke it down, it was kind of by accident. Like, they just swung the ball, and suddenly Jokic was on Kawhi in the corner, and Kawhi was like, oh, I'm just going to drive. Like, I don't think the plan was to get into that situation. But now that they're more aware of what's happening, they're probably going to say, okay, when this happens, we do this.
Yeah.
I know we had Clippers winning the series. Are we more or less nervous or confident?
I still feel the same.
Yeah, I
I'm not any
kind
more
of feel the
confident,
same.
less confident.
I really do wish they took that feel-out game, but I mean, we got it at -110. I'm not going to trip over it too much.
Yeah.
All right, the next game that was played was again another one that's has game 2 tonight is the Knicks and Pistons. It was a dogfight of a game until the Pistons went on a 21-0 run in the span of 4 minutes in the fourth quarter. Pistons are in trouble in the sense that run happened kind of when everybody was out of foul trouble and healthy, because in the first half, when they did have a little bit more control over the game, Josh Hart was in foul trouble and Mikal Bridges was in foul trouble. However, for the Pistons, so was Jalen Duren and Cade Cunningham. The biggest thing for me that I noticed watching the game is the way that both teams matched up defensively was very different than the regular season and was exactly what we wanted to see from both sides. In the regular season, OG Anunoby was on Tobias Harris. In this game, he was on Cade Cunningham, and he did a great job. And on the Detroit side, in the regular season, they had the centers, Jalen Duren and Isaiah Stewart, defending Karl Anthony Towns. In this one, they had Tobias Harris, and then they showed help with other players around him. I think that was the right plan from both sides.
No, definitely.
So knowing that we got what we wanted and the Knicks won by 11, what was your takeaways from that one?
I think, just like at the end of it, I think one of the biggest things for Detroit was Isaiah Stewart getting hurt and not returning. Because right after that, that's when they went on that run.
Yeah.
Or at least that's when it started. So I'm very worried about that.
Because Stewart coming off and Brunson coming in happened, I think at the same dead ball. Really close to it if it wasn't the same.
You know, Stewart's known for his fights, but he's one of the best rim protectors in the league. They're going to need him. If he doesn't play, I don't think the Pistons win this game 2. I don't think they'll have a chance, to be honest, especially if Jalen Duren gets into foul trouble again, which knowing Jalen Duren is very likely.
I have it.
Yeah.
But they went small for a bit.
Yeah, I think Asar is going to get those backup fives if Isaiah Stewart end up being out. So that could be an interesting look there for a bet standpoint.
Yep.
And then we also noticed Mitchell Robinson got those minutes for Josh Hart when he was in foul
double
trouble.
bigs in the second quarter, which I loved. I don't think they're going to do it again because I'm not anticipating his foul trouble again. But I love the fact that that's on the table.
Yeah. I think Tobias Harris, they have to give him the ball more in the second half. They kind of just went away from him. It wasn't like they just stopped him. They just kind of went away from him, from what I was seeing. Did you see anything else?
They said as much after the game. This isn't something that I just thought I noticed while I was watching. They pretty much sold out to stop Cade. Cat was playing at the level. He normally doesn't do that. As soon as his feet touched the paint, there was 3 people around him. And it's the star player treatment. I get it. But they said, we are daring other good players like Malik Beasley and Tobias Harris. If they beat us, we're fine.
Yeah.
With that being said, Cade still had 23 points on 8 of 21 shooting. Like, he's still got a decent amount of usage. Pistons are running a million screens for him. What I think is going to be big for him going forward is when he had the most success, both as a passer and a scorer, was when they brought Brunson into the actions, because the Knicks do not want to switch. They're doing everything possible not to switch. So it's Brunson's over helping a lot.
Yeah.
And it's not a blitz to the same sense that Cat's doing it, because Cat blitzes and everybody around him rotates. Brunson's trying to stunt it and recover, and his guy is just being left wide open every time. Either that or Cade's just attacking Brunson on the dribble and shooting over him. So that's going to be a big chess match I think we're going to see between Cade and the Knicks defense, because obviously they did a good job handling it beforehand, something that they didn't do a good job of during the season. So I think Cade's going to come back with a much better game in game 2.
Yeah. I do think he won't be taking as many threes. You know, he did take 4 threes, and I watched all of them. 2 of them were tightly contested based off NBA data. The other 2 were open. And then one of those, they even came at like the very last minute of the game where he tried to force a contact 4-point play type of thing just because they were down. He just forced it. So really, it's just he only took 3-point attempts really if you take that one away. I think playing at the level and the blitzes, I don't think he's going to take many threes. His bread and butter is in the paint. He needs to get there, get to his spots around there. I think he's going to try to be more aggressive, drawing some fouls as well.
I mean, 2 of these came in the last two or three possessions of the game. It's hard to pull up for 3 when you're getting blitzed. Like, guys like Luka and Steph would do it because it'll be a step back from 30, 35 feet.
Yeah.
Cade's not that kind of 3-point shooter. Not necessarily efficiency level, but obviously not efficiency level, but he doesn't do these step back deep threes. If he's taking a 3, it's pretty much at the line. So, yeah, I'm kind of with you. The other player, as long as we're talking about star players shooting threes, Jalen Brunson only took 5 of his 27 shots were threes. This might be an adjustment from the Pistons defense side, but they were going over screens and then kind of staying on his hip. There was a decent amount of foul calls that I don't want to say they were fouls, but I was surprised they weren't called at MSG, knowing how Brunson is as a player.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be interesting to see if, 1, they keep getting away with that, 2, if they switch up the game plan at all, because it seemed like they were daring Jalen Brunson to beat them in the mid-range and floater, which is kind of what he wants to do anyways. Obviously, it would be nicer to have a layup.
That is his bread and butter.
Yeah, so but you're asking him to beat you in the exact way that he wants to score anyways. He shot 3 of 11 in the first half. I can't remember, or 4 of 15. I can't remember the exact numbers. He had 11 points in the first half. Missed a lot of opportunities you expect him to make. Finished with 34 points. So I don't want to sit here and say I expect a better or worse game from Jalen Brunson. I expect a different game plan from the Pistons and defending him personally. Because if that 23 points that came in the second half, that came in the first half, I guarantee they would have came out differently in the second half.
Yep.
Anything else we need to talk about?
I think that's it.
Oh, I do have one more thing. Josh Hart played 23 minutes in the second half after 7 in the first half due to foul trouble. He was a big reason for that run that they had. The Knicks don't play with a lot of pace, and the Pistons are obviously young and want to run. And that was kind of where they were holding the lead a little bit, is like guys like Malik Beasley getting out and running and getting a corner 3 in transition and stuff like that. Josh Hart getting rebounds and pushing the pace during that run was a big part of why it happened, because it wasn't like yes, the Knicks made their shots, but it wasn't like they were 6 of 6 from 3 and just couldn't miss. It was pretty high quality looks from just catching the Pistons lacking, as well as the Knicks played. The Pistons shot themselves in the foot a little bit defensively. They kind of just let everything explode in front of their face and did nothing about it. But with that being said, JB Bickerstaff also doesn't know how to use a timeout to stop that run.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll say this: I expect the Pistons to bounce back, but if I was holding a Pistons ticket to win the series, I would be nervous.
I agree.
All right, next series: the Lakers and Timberwolves. Timberwolves wiped them, 117-95. Had control pretty much the whole game. Luka Doncic only 1 assist. I'm trying to look to see what other surprising stat lines we saw. Luka was also 5 of 10 from 3. He was playing really well to start the game, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Timberwolves just look like they've been waiting for this game and game planning for it for months.
Yeah, they came out with a perfect game plan. There was heavy on switching. Even with Rudy Gobert basically being played off the court, you know, because the Lakers went small ball. Um, the Lakers couldn't beat their switches at all when they
No.
got those matchups. So 3-point shooters were not going to be able to get open if you can't get no dribble penetration off those switches. Um,
I mean, the
but I
Timberwolves
would,
got it from everybody, dude. Rudy
yeah.
Gobert was the only one who wasn't scoring.
Mm-hmm. Naj Reid, the corner three, was just he's money from corner three, basically.
Oh, yeah. I will say, as much as the Timberwolves had a lot of open threes, it wasn't necessarily because of blitzing Ant. They would stack up on Ant once he got into the paint,
Mm-hmm.
but a lot of the open threes they let up were like stupid mistakes. One of
Yeah.
them, Ant was driving strong side, and Rui came to help Luca on the drive, but he didn't like show and like force him to pull up. He was basically came and stood behind Luca, so his Nas Reed was so wide open for no reason. Like Rui didn't have a chance to come back out, and it didn't have to. And there was so much stuff like that. LeBron rotating over as Ant was driving, even though LeBron's not part of the help at all, leaving. I think it
Mm-hmm.
was Julius Randle open in the corner. Like LeBron was realistically the fourth closest guy to go and help on that drive. I don't know why he thought he was trying to rotate over and leave his guy open. So it was a lot of stuff like that. I'm pretty confident the Lakers are going to fix up, but it was definitely if Anthony Edwards was one-on-one on the perimeter, they let him go to work. But as soon as he put the ball on the floor and was trying to get into the paint, that's when he got swarmed.
Yeah. I think DFS is going to have to continue to play 30 plus minutes here. He was their best defender against Ant from what it looked like and from a statistical standpoint. Because when they was matched up, Ant only shot 0 of 5 from the field when DFS was on him. And like looking at the film, like he made him take some pretty tough contested shots. I think probably him being on the court in that small ball lineup gonna have to continue to happen. Like I said, I don't know what they're gonna do with Jackson Hayes here.
8 minutes. I was about to
Yeah,
bring that up. He's not going to play.
yeah,
He can't. Like we talked about it before. He loses every disadvantage possible to Rui, or not to Rui, to Rudy. And if the Timberwolves are going to switch, then you lose the pick and roll lob upside anyways. So what's he on? He can't shoot. So what's he on the court for if he's just going to be a net negative in every possible metric?
Do you think they go as far as starting the game off with DFS instead of Hayes in the starting lineup? I don't know if they do,
I don't think so.
but I feel like if they do get desperate, maybe like a game 3 or game 4,
Yeah.
that's probably what they would do. But I'm not sure for game 2.
I don't think they'll do it for game 2. I think they'd have it. It would be a panic move if they did it.
Yeah.
Like when
I'm
they
in
went
agreement.
super small in the second half, it was you need threes from the role players to kind of climb back. You're not going to do it with 4 points from Jackson Hayes.
Yeah.
Jared Vanderbilt, 13 and a half minutes. Felt like he got 25. He was just trying to piss off every Minnesota player while he was in the game. I think he got Julius Randle a tech and somebody else he pissed off. I think might have been Nas Reed. But he was clearly trying to instigate. Like I don't think he was just. It wasn't like Draymond, where Draymond just being him, it pisses people off at times in the game.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed very intentional what Vanderbilt was trying to do, and he was trying to get under their skin. I don't know if that's because they were losing and they needed somebody to try and like a big moment to flip the script, or if that's what JJ Redick said, hey, we need you to do this series. I don't think the Timberwolves are the team you want to do that with, though. I think that's the issue.
No, not at all.
Like, that's what they thrive off of. They want to wake up. Like, you know how Tom Brady said, like, I look for somebody to be mad at while I'm playing, and that gets me going. That feels like how the Timberwolves are. If nobody gets them going, they could easily they'll lose to the Charlotte Hornets for no reason because nobody's really taking it seriously. Timberwolves look good, man. I'm not gonna lie.
They do.
I
do think the Lakers clean up some things for game 2, and I think it'll be a much different story.
I will say only 13 turnovers from the Lakers. It felt like a lot more.
It did.
It felt like I was going to see like a 18 to 22 turnover type of game. But
it was just the fast break points, getting out in transition. That's what killed them.
Dude, the Lakers' transition defense is horrible. It got exposed for the first time versus Chicago, and everybody's like, oh, fluky Chicago loss, who cares? But ever since that game, it seems like that's been the blueprint. Just get out and run as much as possible, and you probably have a pretty good shot at beating the Lakers. And
yeah,
we saw Anthony Edwards crashing glass a bunch. That's part of the reason why, because he grabs a rebound, he's gone. Like, he's already 2 steps, he's at half court. Somebody go for a dunk, and he's finding them. So I think they're going to keep following that same blueprint. For the Lakers, outside of just defending better, I mean, they still only scored, actually, 95 points isn't too little in the playoffs. But what's the changes that we have to see for them offensively?
I think they had to find a way to get AR going more. Because obviously when LeBron, Reeves, and Luka is on the court, he's going to see the third best defender. He's going to have to find a way to get going more. I think we're probably going to see a little bit more 3-point shooting from him. I know he did see some good looks from 3. He was only 3 of 8 from, but a lot of his threes were pretty wide open. I think they can probably continue to find a way to get him the ball, get going from the perimeter.
It's interesting looking at this box score and seeing like Rui 3 threes, LeBron 19 points, Luka 37, Reeves 16. And I'm not looking at any of that and saying, oh, this guy has to step up more, because that all looks fine. Obviously, you want a little more than 19 from LeBron, but if you're getting 37 from Luka, it kind of balances it out. So it's like the only players that didn't really do much. DFS, only 3 points. Jared Vanderbilt, 2 points, but they're not relying the success of their offense in those guys. So I am surprised that they got packed up as easily as they did, even though these are the stat lines. Maybe there was some garbage time stuff. I don't know.
It's just they couldn't beat the switches. So
yeah,
you don't get any dribble penetration. It's kind of a wrap. The only one who was getting dribble penetration was Luka. And then by the time he was there, it was too easy for him to score. So he's just going to score himself.
Yeah. Do our predictions change at all for this series?
I don't think so.
We had different predictions.
Yeah, I still think
mine's definitely not changing.
Yeah, I still think it's 7-game series. I think Lakers take game 2. They just have to go on the road and take.
Game 6 would be in Minnesota. I think it's Timberwolves in 6 for me now.
I still
actually
think
fuck Timberwolves suck at home. Oh, I forgot about that. Never mind. Probably in 7, yeah. All right. We won't take too long in this one, but we have the Oklahoma City Thunder against the Memphis Grizzlies. 131-80. I don't know what the worst playoff loss in history is. I wouldn't be surprised if that was up there. That was a beatdown. The only thing I have worth mentioning, the Grizzlies' transition defense was atrocious.
Very bad.
The amount of times
you want to hear the numbers?
Oh, God. Let's hear it.
So, transition, OKC, 22% frequency. They were a plus 14.6 in transition. 176 points per play in transition. That's ridiculous.
Bro, it felt like they were 3v none every time.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't even like,
that's per 100
move the
possessions.
Ball. Yeah, it wasn't
crazy.
like move the ball. It was OKC was running, Memphis was not.
Yeah.
something as simple as a rebound. Chet got the rebound immediately. Jalen Williams is already open past half court. It was embarrassing because it wasn't just if the Grizzlies just had like, oh, they did shoot 20% from three, but if that was their only issue, whatever, not gonna happen again. But the fact that they were so unwilling to play like the bare minimum of transition defense was unbelievable to me.
Yeah. Another one that's very problematic here for Memphis. 4 of 24 from the short mid range.
God.
4 of 24. That is horrible.
Bro, it felt like at one point Zach Edey was only on the floor as a bailout. Like I saw there was like 3 or 4 possessions where Ja or Bane would dribble into pressure or start jumping for a shot that they realized was not a good shot. So then they just threw up like a little lob to Edey at the elbow for him to catch it because he was the tallest guy.
Yeah.
Like if that's what he's on the floor for, one, you're not using him right. Two, you have some issues with your offense. I understand that the OKC defense is very good. Set a good screen. Do something like a normal basketball team and try and play back. I don't know. I'm looking at some of these stats right now, and it's like rebounds 54 to 43. You were the team that shot 20% from three. Makes sense. But then 12 steals for OKC, 22 turnovers for Memphis. Oh my God.
Memphis not getting to the free throw line at all either. It was.
I guess the only positive for Memphis is that point differential doesn't matter in a series.
Yeah.
If you win game 1 or game 2, it's still 1-1.
Exactly.
I'm trying to think what the path to victory would be other than just hitting their shots from outside, because their whole thing is they want to speed the game up, but that's what OKC wants to do, and they do it better than anybody in history.
They just did it even better than them. So
yeah.
I was like, I don't know. You took away SGA and they still won by 51, so I don't know what to say.
The one thing that Memphis has to do if they want a chance, in my opinion, you can't just stick Jaren Jackson in a corner and let him.
Jaren Jackson has to get involved.
Like
the way they game planned that was horrible.
Everybody was getting mad at him, bro. I don't think it was his fault. Like it genuinely looked like Memphis said, "Hey, we're not going to go to you this game." And for the life of me, I can't understand why. That's the one thing. OKC's double big. You are the only team that can go at outside of the Cavs. You're the only other team that can go at a double big defense with a double big offense that has a potential of working. Like,
yeah,
Edey is bigger than Hartenstein. He can crash the offensive glass. Jaren Jackson is stronger than Chet. So they're not better as a tandem than the other two. But if you're just looking how you match up offensively, there is a way you can utilize it. So for them to just put Jaren Jackson to the side and forget about him, I didn't understand that game plan at all. Why run a pick and roll?
I think they start off the first quarter and go straight to him.
I have to. But there's going to be a lot that changes on the Memphis side, hopefully, with game 2. So don't want to talk about it too much. Next one, another one that was handled pretty comfortably. Celtics 103, Magic 86. And I will say the Celtics got a little bit more 3-point shooting from their catch and shoot guys than I thought. I thought they'd handle this game comfortably, but I thought it was going to be through guys like Tatum and Porzingis winning their one-on-one matchups. But in the end, it was Derek White, 7 threes, 30 points. Peyton Pritchard, 19 points, 4 of 6 from 3. And those are the exact two guys that me and you said we're expecting to have less usage this series.
Yeah. But it's like when they start hitting their shots, like they just got going, you know.
Oh, yeah.
But I think with Pritchard, he really made a difference with his first step. Once he beat him off the first step, he was doing whatever he wanted with that defense.
Who was his matchup? It's probably Cole Anthony, wasn't it?
Probably. I think it was Cole Anthony when he came in.
Yep, Cole Anthony, a little bit of KCP mixed in there, a little bit of Corey Joseph. Which reminds me, why is Corey Joseph playing?
They attack him
cool in the regular
as soon as they see him on the court. Yeah.
But this is anybody could have told you that he was going to get picked apart in this series, and they went out and played him how many minutes? 26 minutes. That can't happen. Can't have that. Anthony Black, 13 minutes. Corey Joseph, 26 minutes. Can't happen.
Jonathan
Mosley,
Isaac's
16.
going to be getting the backup 5 minutes, it looks like.
Yep. He only had 2 rebounds, surprisingly.
Yeah.
In 18 minutes. But, I mean, when is expected, Celtics beat down. Doesn't matter who's scoring. Somebody's going to be scoring. Magic can't score.
I feel like they're all going to be like competitive games, but it's still going to be Celtics in 4 or 5.
Yeah. But there's not as much to talk about because it was kind of, all right, everybody thought this was going to happen. This happened.
Yeah.
We're not going to tell you what you already knew was going to happen.
It's, Magic going to rely on Paolo and Franz to really score here, which is exactly what happened, and then play gritty defense and just hope that works. That's going to continue to be their game plan, unfortunately, because they have no other options.
Speaking of, we said, all right, Paolo and Franz are going to combine for 50, and Magic still might not score 95 most games. I was wrong. They combined for 60, and they still didn't get 90 points as a team. So this Magic team offensively, there's just no hope, in my opinion.
Yeah, this is why they're going to lose in 4 or 5.
Yep. We said 5 because we said, well, the Celtics are going to have at least one bad shooting night. It basically did, and they still packed them up, no problem. So it's probably going to be 4 now.
No, trust me, they're going to have a much worse game. They still shot 43% from 3.
I guess, yeah, Derek White and Peyton Pritchard do carry that. I was thinking more of the Tatum Brown.
Yeah.
All right, next up, we got my Cavs. Took care of Miami Heat 121-100. I will say this is closer than the final score put together.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of just ran away the last 8-10 points. I can't remember exactly how many it was, but the Heat were in this game the entire time. Tyler Hero and Ty Jerome defended each other and had opposite performances. Tyler Hero had 21 points, but it was a very quiet 21. Ty Jerome had 28 points. I guess 28 points. I thought he had 23. But even his first 12, it was a very loud 12. It felt like every bucket came at the worst possible time that the Heat could have had it come for him or come against them. So,
yeah.
I mean, Donovan Mitchell had 30. Garland had 27. And the talk of the game was still Ty Jerome. He was unbelievable in this game. Made up for Mobley not even reaching double-figure points. So, trying to win.
Ty Jerome and Sam Merritt were the only bench points. I think that is a surprising thing.
I mean, yes and no, because the Cavs were going with a 10-man rotation, and it's so easy to pick on spots against the Heat. It's if you have Donovan Mitchell and you get him switched onto a Tyler Hero or a Kel'el Ware or a Duncan Robinson, he's not passing it out to Isaac Okoro, who, by the way, shot 0 for 4 from 3 and hit the backboard to start the game. Yeah. I'm on Okoro FC. I love the guy. That can't happen. If that happened in a big moment, I would have. You would have heard me screaming. But
Hunter was missing shots he typically makes too.
0 for 4 from the field. A lot of people that, they obviously know I'm a Cavs fan. They asked me immediately after the game. They said, "Oh, should we expect a bounce back for DeAndre Hunter next game because his lines are super low?" I don't think he needs to. Why would he need to? With Garland and Mitchell playing like this, Ty Jerome's clearly the guy off the bench. He's more comfortable. We don't need to kick out to shooters. Jared Allen is just – he played a fucking great game too.
That block was incredible on Bam.
Oh, my God. I didn't even realize it was Bam. Jared Allen made it look like it was a smaller guard, like an Alec Burks or something. It wasn't until they showed the replay that I was like, oh my God, that was Bam Adebayo that he just fucking stuffed.
Yeah.
So it was good to see him show up in a big playoff moment like this. 6 offensive rebounds. That was another thing for those who follow Brady Hawk on Twitter. He tweeted, I said, we got to do something about these offensive rebounds. So it was the Cavs basically. It felt like the Heat played the exact game they wanted to, but the Cavs also did everything at the perfect moment. The Cavs didn't have a perfect game, but when they needed a 3, they always got it. When they needed an offensive rebound, they always got it. And I mean, that's kind of why they got to this point in the season being the 1 seed. It wasn't because they played every game perfectly. It was because they did everything at the right times.
Yeah. I think with Miami, they have to find a way to free up Tyler Hero a little bit more. In the second half, what he took, I don't know how many shots he took. It wasn't very few.
I can check on it right here. He took 6 shots in the second half.
Yeah.
It felt a little lost for the Miami offense. Like, it was like, okay, everybody's going to eat. But that's not – we're not in game 20 of the season. You want your guys to eat. You want Bam Adebayo, Tyler Hero, Andrew Wiggins. You want the guys you want to have the ball to have the ball. It didn't feel that way for Miami. Granted, again, I said they played well. Like, Duncan Robinson did play well when they did give him the ball. But that doesn't necessarily make it the right decision either.
Yeah.
Davion Mitchell, though, 34 minutes. I do expect him to start at some point of the series. He's still coming off the bench, but you can't afford. Like, the Cavs went up, if I'm remembering correctly, I think they went up a good chunk to start the game. Let's see. Yeah, it went up 14-5 to start the game. I think Davion Mitchell came in a minute or two earlier than normal because you needed that spark. No, I understood why they moved him to the bench as a 6-man when it happened, because you do need that spark for them. It's not worth it in this one. You need him from the first minute against one of Donovan Mitchell or Darius Garland.
Especially if Burke is not really getting buckets.
Yeah.
Burke says, I don't know what he's going to do here.
I wrote down how they matched up on the opening possession. I'll check on it right now, but it was different than I anticipated. Let's see. So the Cavs defense, they put Strus on Hero, Garland on Burke, Mitchell on Wiggins, and Mobley on Bam, and then Allen on Ware. The Miami defense put Hero on Garland, which I expected not to go well, and it didn't. Andrew Wiggins on Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell actually did start the game pretty well, but it felt like it was a lot through the flow of the offense. It wasn't like he just got Wiggins in an ISO and cooked.
Mm-hmm.
Burks on Strus. Strus knocked down an early 3. Bam on Mobley and Ware on Allen. It's the Bam and Ware thing is going to be tough for them because Bam did his job. Mobley only had 9 points, didn't do much. Jared Allen had 6 offensive rebounds. Most of them came with Ware in the game. That kills any momentum that you're like. If you're on an 8-0 run and you get a stop, and then Jared Allen gets a tip in, put back, that ruins everything that you just worked for. You can't have that. So,
yeah,
what's the answer to that, though? Kyle Anderson?
I think we're going to see more Kyle Anderson.
He got how many minutes? Only 6 minutes in this game.
Yeah.
They don't have a lot of size behind Bam. Haywood Highsmith maybe as like a small 4 on Mobley, but the Cavs are going to pick on that.
Do they get desperate and put in Jovic? He's been playing well this season, but coming back from injury is going to be tough.
I do think Jovic is going to get some run eventually. I just don't think it'll be for defensive purposes.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be, we moved Davion to the starting lineup. We still need somebody we trust with the ball in their hands off the bench. I think that would be where Jovic comes in. But I don't think it'll be because they're losing out on Ware and or Allen and Mobley defensively.
Yeah. Do you think offensively Mobley continues to struggle with that Bam matchup?
If Bam stays on him, yes and no, because that's the other thing. It wasn't that he struggled that much per se. It was just kind of the Cavs were taking what the defense was giving him. And obviously, if you can not go at Bam, you won't. And Bam's so worried about Mobley that he's helping over on like the drive and stuff a lot less. So if they keep playing Bam against Mobley the same way that they have been, I don't expect big stat lines for him. But the second that they switch it, Mobley's going to go crazy.
Yeah, I agree. Because the shots that he did take were like some just tough one-on-one stuff in the paint.
Yeah. And it's like, we don't need that.
Yeah.
All right. And the last game to talk about, the Warriors and the Rockets. this looked like another OKC Memphis type of thing. I think Rockets only had 36 points in the first half. They came roaring back. I think end of third, early fourth, but Warriors kept them at bay. I mean, my takeaways for this is one, Sengun.
Turnovers for me.
For me, it was Sengun because it wasn't just that he was playing well against Draymond. It was like his eyes were lighting up when he got on an island with Draymond, which is not normally what you see for guys that go against him. But then he backed it up pretty well. 11 of 18, 26 points. And did he get in foul trouble? Or am I remember? Yeah. No,
first
only
quarter,
2 fouls.
I think. Yeah, it was the first quarter. He had those 2 fouls.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then another player that's a big part of that run, part of the double big, Steven Adams, 5 offensive rebounds. I wouldn't be surprised if all 5 of them came in the second half. 3 of the 5 came in the second half, but he was in control of his area the entire run. So I wouldn't be surprised. Like there was a point where Sengun came in, they ran the double bigs, and normally when Steven Adams comes out and Adams is the only big, they just said, no, we're just going to bring Sengun off again and let Adams be the only big. So Adams played more minutes than I anticipated with 19. I think it was probably paid 15, 16 if that happened. But that was very good for them. And then the other big part of that run, I think, was Tari Eason, both defensively, in transition, just being aggressive. He looked like a really positive piece for the Rockets when he was on the court, and that's kind of been the story with him all season. I think he needs more minutes here.
Yeah, but he does have to work on finishing around the rim with his layups.
Yeah. Bro, I can't even get mad at him for not finishing when we got old Freddie V out there shooting. What did he shoot? 4 of 19. I think 2 of them were garbage time buckets.
Yeah.
I understand he's the leader of your team, but at some point, not leader like actual like poster boy of the team, but he orchestrates a lot of the stuff on the court. But if he's shooting like that, somebody either has to tell him to stop shooting, or you got to put a guy like Tari Eason in ahead of them because he's also not a plus defender either. So you can't have it happen on both sides of the court. You need at least one of them.
I agree.
And by the way, Freddie V sucks in general against the Warriors, including playoffs. First Warriors career with Rockets. I'm trying to see the exact percentage. 30. Oh, this isn't right. This has a lot of Toronto games. I'll figure it out later. But yeah, for whatever reason, he's always terrible against Golden State, even when he's left open. Those are my main takeaways for the Rockets in terms of watching them go down big and then watching them climb back in it because their defense was there the whole game, really.
Yeah.
They had a little or a few possessions, both first half and second half, where there was some miscommunication issues on the screen, which I'd say that happens for a lot of teams against Steph Curry. Everybody panics about which side of the screen he's going to go to. But they made the Warriors offense pretty uncomfortable. So I do want to give them credit for that. I mean, they only scored 95 points against a Warriors team that's pretty solid. It's really just the offense for me that the Rockets have to get their shit together in.
Yeah, I'm very much with you there. Defense did exactly what it was supposed to do. Like we talked about before game 1, it's going to be Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler carrying this offense.
Yep.
Can anyone else step up? And Pods was the only double-digit scorer.
I think
so. Really, it's just the Rockets' offense. Yeah, it's the Rockets' offense that let them down here. I think they continue the same defensive game plan. Because they put Sengun on, was it Moody and Gary Payton?
Yep.
I think for the Golden State Warriors offense, I think they're going to have to lean on those two more for like short rolls and them knocking down their shots. Yep. I think that would be important for them. Rockets, obviously, either Fred, knock down your shots, give it to somebody else.
Stop taking them. Stop.
Yeah.
You're two. If you get to 2 for 8, you can use that 9th one as a test. If that 9th one doesn't go in, you're done. Stop shooting the ball. You're not Steph Curry. You don't have the ultra green light. If your shot isn't falling that day, it isn't falling. It's okay.
Yeah. just find another way to get someone else involved. I think Dylan Brooks should have been one of those guys that should have been getting more touches there. 22 possessions against Steph Curry. He missed some layups, contested layups, obviously, but he still has to get going in this matchup. Post ups, the looks were there, just wasn't really getting the ball.
Yeah,
it happens when Fred shoots 4-19. So
it was crazy to me watching that scoreline throughout the game, because just to put it in perspective, at the end of the third quarter, the score was 60-66. The Grizzlies, who we talked about, just got absolutely obliterated by the Thunder. They had 63 points through 3 quarters. Some of it was good defense, some of it was bad offense on both sides. Mostly bad offense for the Rockets. I don't know that adjustments are that needed game plan wise. I think it's really just going to be Houston needs to have their guys get a little bit more comfortable. Like Jalen Green looked very uncomfortable.
Yeah. And it's a young team, so it makes sense. I think game 2, they do come out a little bit better.
Yeah.
It's still going to be a very competitive game. I'm curious if they have enough in the offense to get going, but it will be interesting.
As weird as it is to say, I think it's in their favor that they started out the series at home, because by the way that first game went and how the players looked, I think they were going to be losing game 1. In hindsight, obviously, we didn't think this was the case beforehand. I think they were going to lose game 1 either way. So to have game 2, it's more like they get comfortable in game 2 if they're at home. You don't want to be going down 2-0 in a series. So
now you're like, oh, now I know what it feels like in this playoff game. All right, now let's go play some basketball.
Exactly. So, I mean, that covers the entire game 1s of the slate. Not too many surprises. The games we expected to be good for the most part were good. The games we expected to be blowouts were blowouts. My thoughts on like what I expect through the rest of the playoffs don't change as much. Yeah, there's not many takeaways outside of just like game to game in terms of outlook for the rest of the playoffs. At least not yet.
No.
All right. So make sure you guys like and subscribe if you appreciate the long form content like this. Obviously, as the playoffs get going, there's not going to be as many games each day. So we're going to try and do clips like this more and more. If you guys have anything you want to see that we haven't done, or any insight you'd like us to look into for future videos, please put those in the comments as well. But other than that, we got another video coming soon with our picks for tonight's game. The Pistons and the Knicks is the first game, and the second game is Clippers and Nuggets. So make sure you go check that out when it's posted as well. And we'll see you guys in future videos. Thank you, everybody.